Hey y'all, so today is Monday, and as you know, on Mondays I typically talk about books that have inspired me or influenced me in some way. And so I got home from work today and I was looking over my bookcases. I have 5 bookcases in my home, and nothing really jumped out at me that I really felt inspired to talk about at this time. So I decided I would cover a topic that a question came into me through my website, which was how to lay a doll baby to rest, or how to dispose of a doll baby when you don't need it anymore. Either you made the doll, you baptized it, you did your spell and you got what you wanted, or you did your spell, you didn't get what you wanted, and you're either giving up completely or you're gonna give up trying to use a doll, and you're gonna change your tactics and use a different medium, such as either a mojo bag, a candle spell, a bath, whatever. So for whatever reason, you got your doll and you want to dispose of it. So there's some different considerations that you want to think about when you go to dispose of your doll. Number one, what was the doll made of? Because you wouldn't dispose of a wax doll the same way you would a cloth doll. Number two, what was the doll used for? Was it used to bring a lover to you? Was it used to bless or heal someone? Was it used to curse someone? Because you're going to want to dispose of your doll in a way that is consistent with the work that was done. The third consideration I think is important is, was your spell successful or not? So let's look at a few ways you can do this. And the reason I also chose to do this is I actually have a doll here that I made that I need to dispose of. Those of you who saw my video on the stupefying go away spell, I actually made a doll of my nuisance neighbor who was looking in my window, and as you can see, I just made a simple little black doll, and he's wearing a blindfold because I put that blindfold on him to keep him from looking in my window or looking at me or giving me any of his attention or interest, while I was simultaneously working on getting him to move out and go away, which, by the way, I was successful. So this is a cloth doll. I no longer need this doll. This doll has been sitting in the corner of a room for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks now, and it actually worked. It got the guy off my back, but I still wanted him to leave, to just go away. I wanted him gone, and that was a separate spell. And so I'm ready to dispose of this doll. Now, I got what I wanted, so I want to be gentle with this. I don't feel like it needs to come to a violent end. I didn't want to hurt the guy. I just want him gone out of my life. Leave me alone. So what I'm going to do with this doll here is, you can see, it's just 2 pieces of cloth sewn together. I'm going to get my seam ripper. I'm going to open up this doll and take out the inside. I'm going to take the cotton bunting that I used to stuff the doll, as well as any herbs and roots in this doll, and I'm going to bury them off of my property. I'm going to bury them with honor, but I don't want them around here. I don't want it to have a connection to my home. So I'm going to probably go down to the beach this weekend, go for a walk, bury it in the sand. I can go on one of the hiking trails, go off the trail, bury it in there, just somewhere not in my home or around my home. And then the actual doll itself, it will just be, once I take the insides out, it's just a simple little human-shaped doll. I'm just going to throw it in the trash. I don't need it anymore. As part of the ritual to dispose of this, I'm also going to call the spirit of my enemy out of the doll, because when I take it apart, I don't want him to fall apart, So, and that's just really simple. Just like you bless a doll to name it, I might say something like, up in town now, you represented so-and-so, but I release your spirit, I let it go, you are him no more. What I do to you will not happen to him. Just simple. Just setting your attention. Then I'm going to, like I said, take my seam ripper, open this up, empty it out, bury the contents, and then just toss the husk away. I could just simply bury the whole thing somewhere in the ground and then let it, rot away. It's up to you. Um, Now, let's say this was a love doll. Let's say, um, let's say you had two dolls, one to represent you and one to represent someone else, and you did a ritual. You brought these two dolls together, and bound them together, and you put them in a pretty little box on a bed of roses or something, and you kept the box in a drawer by your bed, and for whatever reason, um, your spell didn't work, and you decided that maybe this person isn't for you, or you're going to change your tactics and do something else. Let's also assume that these dolls were wax dolls rather than cloth dolls. So what you're going to do is, with those dolls, you would go to your altar, ritually cut the cord that you used to bind them together, call the spirit out of the two dolls, and then separate them. Once you call the spirit out of the dolls and separate them, you can take the doll belonging to the person you wanted, bury it somewhere off your property. You can burn it, since it's made of wax. You can burn it in a fire, let it melt. As you melt away the nothing, let all energies disappear. And then you can take your doll as well. If you want to use it in a future spell for yourself, you can cleanse it with some Hoyt's cologne or Florida water. Wrap it up in a white cloth and just set it aside, because you've made a doll of yourself. You can use that doll in the future for a different purpose. Some people are not comfortable with the idea of having a doll of themselves. So you can do the same thing. Call the spirit out of the doll, bury it somewhere, burn it, throw it in running water, however you want to do it. And that's basically how you can lay a doll to rest. Let's say this was a doll you used to curse someone, and it worked, and now you just want to be rid of it. You could take that doll and throw it in running water, put it in a crossroads, bury it somewhere off your property. Oh, excuse me. You can choose to call the spirit out of the doll, or leave the spirit in the doll, depending on how much you want that person to suffer. For example, a mirror box. Let's say you did a mirror box, and a mirror box is basically a box that you've created, and you've glued mirrors all over the inside of that box. You can take a photo of a person, or you can take a doll, put it in that box face down, and so they're in that box, and it's almost like a coffin, and no matter which way they look, they're staring back at themselves. Whatever they sends out bounces back onto them. This may be a powerful person, a person who's been a thorn in your side. You don't want to release them. You may not want to release them. You want this to be a permanent thing, to where they just completely leave you alone, like it's a stalker or an evil boss, a person who was close to you, like a friend or a lover who betrayed you and tried to cause you trouble. You don't want to call that spirit out of that doll. You don't want to let up on them. You want them to be kept down. So what you might do is take that box and bury it at in a graveyard, at a grave, and petition a spirit to stay on that person and keep them down so they leave you alone. So that's basically it. Different ways that you can dispose of a baby doll and lay it down. I also wanted to add that sometimes you will make a doll, or you'll purchase a doll, and the craftsmanship is just so beautiful. It would just be a shame to destroy it, to burn it, toss it in running water, throw it away, whatever. It just, from its sheer beauty. And usually this would also be something that was used for a positive purpose, like bringing a lover, healing someone. I wouldn't want to keep around a doll that was used to curse or harm someone, even if I call their spirit out of the doll, release it. But in those cases, like I said, it's just so beautiful. It's such great workmanship. You don't want to get rid of it. You can basically, as carefully as you can, depending on what the doll's made out of, remove the personal concerns or the petition paper or what have you out of the doll, sew it back up neatly, and then you can display it on a shelf or somewhere. Call the spirit out of the doll, and then you can display it on a shelf somewhere just to admire its sheer beauty. But those might be kind of rare cases. Anyway, that is my take on laying a doll baby to rest. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, make good decisions, do good things, and be good people. Goodbye.